23 minutes before 8 here on Morning Live. The 8th annual Kwa-Magogo Legacy event takes place in Swaziland from the 17th to the 8th of the 17th. Let's try that again. Where is it taking place? From, would it be the, when is it happening, Elias?
17th to the 18th.
To the 18th, okay.
Yeah.
We've got to the 8th, and I'm thinking, no, that doesn't sound right to me. Kwa-Magogo is both a person and a house in Swaziland where South African exiles used to be given refuge on their run from the harsh apartheid system. This year's theme, Widows of Our Struggle. Angekhe Salibala, We Shall Never Forget, draws from the recognition of mothers and wives of the struggle who suffered immensely under the direct emotional and physical torture of the apartheid regime. Magogo's son, Elias Masilela, joins us in studio now. He is accompanied by Grace Tabane, whose husband died in the fight against apartheid. It is so good to have both of you. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you very much, Ilan.
All right, let's start at the beginning. The Legacy event strives to really inculcate the spirit of Magogism, okay? If I've got that one correctly.
Yep.
Tell us about the legacy that your parents left.
Let's start with Magogoism. Magogoism is a phrase that we coined as a family, which is the spirit of giving and sharing selflessly, which is a lesson that trickled down from our parents to us to understand that what we own is not ours alone. We need to share. As a result, our house was a shared resource, our mother was a shared resource, our father was a shared resource. Yeah. And this happened purely coincidentally, where the house found itself at the crossroads of South Africa's liberation process. And this is on the back of our father, Solomon Butongo Masilela, having been a builder in Soweto. When the Soweto uprisings broke out, all the children who had to leave the country were given one instruction. Yeah. Cross the border. As soon as you get to the other side in Swaziland, ask for the Masilelas, they'll know what to do.
Wow.
And that's how the story started.
That is absolutely unbelievable. And then Grace, this is where you come into the story, because you were widowed by the struggle, and,
yes.
and obviously there's the big link with number 43 as well. Talk
yes.
to us about this.
Yes, I was widowed in 1987. My husband was assassinated in Swaziland. Before the assassination, I didn't even know where he was then, because he had left 2 months prior to what had happened. So when this happened, you know, they just came to me and said, in fact, Ruth Mombati came to me to inform me about what had happened to him. You know, that time I didn't even know, you know, I felt like running away. You know, I think I was shocked because I was expecting this man to come back. After 3 months, he was gone.
Amazing.
So this really affected me and my kids.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is not an isolated story, is it, Elias? I mean, this happened on a regular basis.
It's quite emotional to everyone.
Yeah, yeah.
This assassination was one of the most prominent assassinations in the history of the ANC.
Yeah.
This followed what we term in the book the biggest defection in the history of the liberation process, the defection of Glory September, who then crossed the floor, started doing work with Eugene de Kock. When he came back to Swaziland, he wreaked havoc. Houses were bombed, cars were shot at, people were kidnapped, people disappeared, all as a result of one prominent leader in the ANC. And we write quite extensively about him in number 43, and he is actually the common thread from page 1 to page last. Yeah. When we met Sis Grace, I was actually quite surprised or astonished that to this very day, when she talks about Cassius, the husband, Cassius Make, she still weeps. Yeah. And how we got to know her was last year's event. We celebrated 50 years of number 43, and we recognized Mozambique, Mozambique, Swaziland, and other people and institutions in the region for having contributed to South Africa's liberation. The president, our president, was represented by Minister Lindiwe Zulu, who, when she came back, she gave a presentation on one of the radio stations. And at the end of that interview, the brother to Sis Grace called in and said, we would like to know the people who are doing this thing. It is fascinating to us because we would like to celebrate our own brother, whom we don't know, where he died and how he died. And nobody is willing to reveal that to us. We then got in touch with the family. Lo and behold, we discovered that the brother that they were talking about is actually somebody who operated from number 43,
Wow.
somebody we know very well, who was assassinated together with Paul Dikeledi, driving from the airport to their hotel in Ezulwini.
What a story. I mean, this is, I mean, obviously your life, your family after
Yeah.
that was, I mean,
Devastated.
this is devastating. But let's look at the recognition that's happening now. I mean, do you feel that enough has been done up to date?
I feel that what Elias is doing is really beyond. I don't know. I don't know, because you know, no one has thought about giving widows anything. He's the first person who's thinking about us.
Yeah, yeah. Which is sad. I
It
mean, you
is
would
sad.
hope that more would have been
Yes,
said
would have
from
been
now.
done. Yes,
Yeah.
but we are the forgotten widows.
Elias, I mean, this is you know, it's a tough story. It's a tough time, but I mean, this has been recognized world over. In fact, I mean, President Barack Obama has even given recognition for the work that was done at number 43, for the stuff that you've put together now in recognition and remembrance of some of these amazing fallen heroes.
Yeah. It's truly, and this is now a global story. When the President of the United States wrote to the Masilela family, we were actually deeply humbled. We couldn't believe that somebody of that stature would write about the story of number 43.
Yeah.
And we took it upon ourselves to continue doing the good work. And for us, it is not the Masilelas that need to be congratulated or recognized. It's the ordinary people that we never ever think, hear about, or write about. And this, for me, is the significance of this year's theme, where we realize that we tend to forget that as the men were going out to fight, and they are the people who are being recognized and reported on in the news, we forget that the women stayed back at home to keep the family unit together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in particular in exile, was to keep the South African families together. And that was extremely important. It was a lonely environment. It was a very cold period. And we needed each other's support. And this is why we decided that the recognition of widows is critical this year.
Let's meet them, shall we? This is the family. So these are your parents.
That's my mother and father.
Yeah.
Those are the people who, as they say, the niggers who started the trouble.
Yeah.
And this was basically on the basis of walking away from Bantu education. My mother only went to grade 2 in her training or education. My father went as far as standard 2. But they realized the tough life that they had to go through without an education. When Bantu education was enacted, they decided they're not going to expose their children to that kind of education. Fortunately, they had an exposure to Swaziland, and they took the decision to migrate to Swaziland in 1965 in search of a better education. Yeah. And this is why we're here today.
And there's a picture of all of your brothers and sisters, and I mean, and there were a lot of you. How many brothers and sisters have you got?
We were a family of 9.
9 of you. Yeah, 9.
6 girls, 3 boys.
They needed a lot of help, because I believe that when anybody came, they were fed, they were given absolutely all the love and care. It was like a home away from home. So that's the Masilela children and the family, 9 of them here. Listen, as I'm holding up this book, I have to tell you that you have the ability and chance to actually win one of these books. We're giving 10 of these books away. And I mean, this is a great honor. Elias, thank you so much for the generosity on all of this. So you are able to win number 43, Trelawney Park. This is I imagine only a few of these copies around, so you could be the proud winner of one of these. And I think all you have to do is tweet us at Morning Live SABC. The question is, how old is this year's Kwa-Magogo Legacy event? That's the question. How old is this year's Kwa-Magogo Legacy event? And you'll be able to win this copy. We'll get in touch with you on that. Grace, I don't want to leave on a note that is so low, but I mean, I want to know how your life has changed. I mean, do you see the positives for what your husband put his life on the line for and died for?
No, because firstly, whenever they talk about the heroes, his name has never been talked about.
Yeah.
I remember we were in Rustenburg for a funeral because there's a hospital that is named Job Tabane. And there were these old women who were discussing, but who is this Job Shimankane Tabane? Because we don't even know him.
Wow.
And not so many people even in Rustenburg know who's Job Tabane.
Yeah. Well, I hope that this is the turn of events, and
I hope so.
He will be recognized for the work that he did and for giving his life up for this country.
For the country.
And most importantly, for the keeping your family together and the work that you did staying behind.
I did,
Thank
I'm
you.
still doing that.
And you do, and you're
Being a
doing.
single woman, I still do that.
Grace, thank you for being with us. Thank you
Thank
for
you very
talking
much.
to us and for being
Thank
with
you.
us here on the program. Elias, congratulations to you. I know the 8th lecture is taking place in Swaziland, and it's happening from the 17th to the 18th of this month. Please come back and visit us. Let us know how it went. And and to the lucky viewers out there, you can win this. The question again, how many or how old, or what is this year's legacy event? How old is the legacy event? And you'll be able to win a copy of this book. Thank you, Elias. Thanks so much for being with us on the program. If people don't win one, where do they get a copy of it, by the way?
On the website, they can get in touch with us.
Yeah.
We self-publish the book and we self-distribute.
So the website is?
www.number43 Trelawney Park, oneword.com.
Okay, brilliant.
And I would like to say to South Africans and the world that even if you cannot make it to Swaziland at the event where we recognize the people who dead their lives, if you can assist us by keeping the message and the story in your hearts and minds, that for us is most important.
All right, thank you. Great
Thank you very
message to
much.
leave that on. Let's take a break here on the program, and when we return,